If you keep putting off important things and then beating yourself up about it, your ADHD brain isn't being lazy. It might actually be trying to protect you from something that feels emotionally unsafe. My name is Sara Kelly, and I'm an ADHD coach for high-achieving, late-diagnosed women. And today I want to talk about why procrastination with ADHD isn't what you think it is. We're going to unpack what's really happening when you avoid tasks, why your brain does this even when you're desperately trying to get things done, and most importantly, how to work with your ADHD brain instead of fighting against it. Last week, I was on a call with a client. Let's call her Maria. And she said something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, I have this presentation due tomorrow that I've known about for 3 weeks. I've opened the document probably 50 times and stared at the blank page, and then immediately closed it to go organize my spice rack instead. I felt like such a failure. Now let me ask you a question. Does this sound familiar to you? Maria's a VP of a tech company. She manages a team of 12 people. She can make split-second decisions that affect million-dollar projects, but ask her to start a presentation and suddenly she's cleaning out her email folder at 11 p.m. the night before it's due. This isn't laziness, and it's not poor time management. This is your ADHD brain encountering something that feels emotionally threatening and then hitting the eject button. So here's what's actually happening. Although it's not in the DSM-5, ADHD brains have what researchers call rejection sensitivity dysphoria. We experience criticism, failure, or even the possibility of not being perfect as genuinely painful, like physically painful. So when you're facing a task that might be judged that you might not do perfectly or feels overwhelming, your brain treats it like a threat. And what do we do with threats? We avoid them. Your brain isn't being difficult. It's trying to keep you safe from the emotional pain of potential failure or criticism. But here's the problem with that. Avoidance actually makes the emotional threat bigger. So the longer you put something off, the more shame builds up around it. And the more threatening it feels, the harder it becomes to start. It's like emotional quicksand, and I see it in my clients all the time. They'll avoid responding to an email for so long that now they're not just dealing with the original email, they're dealing with shame about not responding, anxiety about what the person thinks, fear about how to explain the delay, and the sheer overwhelm about catching up. So one email becomes this massive emotional mountain. And then we tell ourselves stories about what this means about us. I'm so disorganized. I'm unreliable. I'm letting everyone down. But none of that is true. You're not disorganized. You're dealing with a brain that perceives emotional threats differently. So the key is understanding that ADHD procrastination isn't about the task itself. It's about how the task feels. So let's talk about how to make tasks feel safer for your ADHD brain. First, shrink the emotional risk. Instead of write the presentation, try open the document and write one bullet point. Instead of clean the entire house, try clear off one small section of the counter. When you make the task smaller, you make the potential for failure smaller too. And when failure feels less risky, your brain stops hitting the panic button. Second, and this one is huge, separate the task from your identity. ADHD brains love to make everything mean something about who you are as people. A messy desk means we're chaotic. A late email response means we're unprofessional. But what if you could approach tasks as experiments instead of tests of your worth? For instance, I'm going to see how much of this I can get done in 12 minutes instead of I have to do this perfectly or I'm a failure. Third, build in what I call emotional scaffolding. This means creating conditions that make the task feel safer and more manageable. Maybe that's body doubling, working alongside someone else. Maybe it's setting a timer so you know that there's an endpoint. Maybe it's starting with the easiest part instead of the hardest. Maybe it's just giving yourself permission to do it badly the first time. The goal here isn't to eliminate procrastination entirely. It's to make starting feel possible. And here's something really important. Stop trying to motivate yourself with shame and pressure. I know it seems like beating yourself up should make you more likely to do the thing, but with ADHD brains, shame actually makes procrastination worse. Shame tells your brain that the task is even more dangerous because now you're not just risking failure, you're risking being a bad person. Instead, try what I call compassionate accountability. You can acknowledge that you're struggling without making it mean something terrible about your character. That could look like, this feels hard for my brain right now, and that's okay. What's one tiny step I can take? Now, if you're sitting there right now thinking, but Sara, I really do need to get things done. I can't just be gentle with myself forever. I hear you, and you're right. Things do need to get done. But here's what I've learned from working with dozens of women with ADHD. You'll actually get more done when you stop fighting your brain and start working with it. Because when you make tasks feel emotionally safer, when you break them down into manageable pieces, when you approach them with curiosity instead of judgment, your brain stops perceiving them as threats. And when your brain doesn't feel threatened, it stops running away. This is exactly the kind of shift I help my clients make every day. Not through willpower or discipline or trying harder, but through understanding how their ADHD brain actually works and designing systems that support it. If you're ready to stop the cycle of procrastination and shame, I'd love to help you figure out what that looks like for your specific brain. You can book a free clarity call with me. The link is in the description of this video. This is just an opportunity for us to talk about what's really behind your procrastination and create a plan that actually works for your ADHD and not against it. So let me give you 3 things that you can try right now. 1, the next time you're avoiding something, ask yourself, what about this task feels unsafe to my brain? Is it the fear of not doing it perfectly? The overwhelm of not knowing where to start? Or maybe it's the anxiety about being judged. 2, practice the 2-minute rule. If you can do any piece of the task in 2 minutes or less, do it right now. Not the whole task, just one tiny piece. This trains your brain that starting doesn't have to be scary. And 3, celebrate messy action. Did you respond to that email even though it wasn't perfectly worded? That's a victory. Did you start that project even though you only got through the introduction? That's another victory. Your brain needs to learn that imperfect action is still valuable. Procrastination isn't a character flaw, it's information. It's your brain telling you that something feels emotionally risky. And once you understand that, you can start addressing the real issue instead of just trying to force yourself through it. You don't need more discipline, you need more understanding of how your beautiful, complex ADHD brain works. And this is the exact kind of work that I've dedicated my life to. If you want help figuring out exactly what that looks like for you, click the link below. Let's get you out of the procrastination shame spiral and into a way of working that actually feels sustainable. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, your brain is trying to protect you even when it doesn't feel like it. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.